So Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 5 dropped, and honestly, it has put our boy Naruto Uzumaki in the hot seat once again. Wagwan everyone, Shinju here, and welcome back to the channel. So, of course, I did my reaction review to the 5th chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex recently, and honestly, it was a solid chapter. And like many chapters before it, it has changed the playing field when it comes on to the direction of the Boruto story. And one such change is the active participation of Naruto Uzumaki in the story once more. Well, in the sense that his life is now in active danger, as opposed to what I believe a number of us thought would not be the case for the foreseeable future. But anyway, before we get into it, of course, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on that recent chapter because it was definitely solid, and we're here to talk about at least this one aspect of it. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, yeah, if you read the chapter, you know what I mean, right? The sentient Shinju who have, I still find it funny that they have names now, but these, well, seemingly the leader of the sentient Shinju, Jura, has come out and essentially explained to us, the viewers, that outside of their main objective of consuming Boruto, consuming Kawaki, and achieving their final form, and of course, as they were saying in chapter 4, they also have a drive or instinctual need to acquire knowledge. But even outside of that, he has stated that he desires to, well, devour Naruto Uzumaki. Pause. But that is something I find interesting. In the chapter, of course, as a lot of us may have deduced already, that the chakra from the persons that were consumed by the clogram were used, or was, whether intentionally or accidentally, are of course via codes, experimentation essentially. But essentially, the chakra was used to give rise to these four, well, sentient Shinju, which three of them were named in this chapter, Jura being the leaders, the Sasuke one named Hidari, and the one that, which we confirmed in this chapter actually consumed Moegi, is named Matsuri. So interesting. I wonder what was the inspiration for the names. I'm honestly wondering because I genuinely found it funny that they actually had names for some reason, like out of nowhere. It was, I don't know, I just found it random. But anyway, the point is, aside from their main goal and their other goal to acquire knowledge, the sentient Shinju seem to have another instinctual desire to consume a person of interest. As explained in the chapter, each of the four seemingly, even though they are still one biological unit, they're the same divine tree, each of them seem to be developing their own independent consciousness. And that's interesting. And of course, it seems that based on the persons they consumed, they have developed another instinctual desire to consume a person seemingly close to the person they consumed. So, for example, in this chapter, we got it revealed that Hidari, the one that consumed Sasuke, made use of Sasuke's chakra to come alive, essentially, or become sentient. He has an instinctual desire to want to go after and consume Sarada. And of course, in the case of the one named Moegi, she wants to consume Konohamaru, and Bug wants to consume Ada. In Jura's case, he wants to consume Naruto, which makes you question if it's a case where Jigen's dead body was actually used to actually, give rise to this person, which would have, of course, the cells and everything from Ishiki. So that would explain the connection that he has, which, would explain his appearance as well, because he does kind of look like kind of Jigen-esque. So that would explain it. But the point is, Naruto's life is in active danger once more. And as opposed to what we thought, where, stemming from the flash forward in chapter 1 or episode 1, it seems like Naruto would just stay sealed and most of the conflict would surround like Boruto, Kawaki, the village, how to deal with it, all that inter-character drama there when it comes on to, the fate of Naruto Uzumaki. But the point is, we thought that he would just be like, okay, I'm just sealed here until further notice. But Jura seems like he's changing that or flipping that on his head. And based on how things went in the chapter, with even the sentient Tentails or Shinju being able to actually counter, so to speak, or at least, yeah, basically counter Ada's Senrigan viewing by knowing that she's watching. Honestly, and even that, we even have a foundation of like time space dimensions being invaded by other time space dimension users or space time jutsu users. For example, of course, Obito, with enough chakra, was able to get into Kaguya's dimension. So, given those two facts, right, I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination that some way these Shinju would be able to get into the Daikokuten dimension, give or take. But then again, we kind of have to question how would that actually play out. Now, given that Jura, or given that in this chapter, the one that's inspired by Moegi, Matsuri, she was able to feel the sadness and the anger and the sorrow of Konohamaru and the Inashika Cho trio, right? Which I think is playing on the whole idea that, okay, all chakra is connected, similar to how they were building up the foundation of omnipotence when it was used, right? So I'm thinking if Jura is really like inspired or makes use of Ishiki or Jigen's chakra essentially to come alive, more than likely he might be able to have some kind of chakra based link to Kawaki, and more than likely that's going to alert him that Kawaki is the one that knows what happened to, or probably is the one that sealed Naruto away, which kind of paints another target, another layer, apart from them wanting to consume him, but it paints another layer of why we should target Kawaki there. So that's going to be interesting to see how the story develops around that, with Kawaki being targeted by Jura specifically, or I guess by proxy, to get to Naruto Uzumaki. And even more so than that, it's going to be interesting. I think I want to talk about this in another like discussion video, where the conflict or tension with Jura potentially hunting Kawaki versus a potential investigation in the leaf via Shikamaru into Kawaki. It'll be interesting to see how those two potential narrative threads kind of converge, So that's going to be more than interesting. I don't know if it's going to lead to Kawaki eventually releasing Naruto or whatever the case may be, even though it might be safer there. Or if they can break into the dimension like I'm kind of implying here, it's like, what's the best move, right? But given that the flash forward still has or implies that Naruto is still sealed without a problem, it seems that we might be a ways off before anything potentially happens to Naruto specifically. And yeah, so I think we still got time, but it's interesting that they found a way to have Naruto be somewhat of an active, non-active participant in this whole thing once again by having his life being targeted. So that's going to be interesting. And as the story goes on, when it comes on to Jura, Matsuri, Hidari, I'm interested in seeing more of the nuance of what happens next. So like if they consume somebody, or one of them consumes somebody specifically, what happens? Like I would imagine like another clog rhyme consuming somebody else, yeah, you can give rise to another sentient one coming out. But what if one of the ones that are already sentient consumes somebody? I'm kind of curious to see what happens there. But it's interesting. It does seem like we're going along the route where we are going to be having this big theme of identity when it comes on to the Shinju. So that's going to be interesting, and I'm not surprised, or at the very least it makes sense why Kashin Koji is reintroduced at this point, because being a clone of Jiraiya, I would imagine establishing your own identity is going to be a major theme or recurring thing when it comes on to the story going forward. So that's going to be fun and interesting. So they could even play off a Kashin Koji interacting with these Shinju type of deal. So there's that. But anyway, I'm kind of hoping we kind of get up to the point where I think it has to happen that Naruto gets reintroduced to the story, because I don't know. I mean, based on the precedent or the foundation that's been set with Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto at this point, I'm not even sure if keeping Naruto in that dimension is the safest place for him, because again, people can invade other space-time, dimensions, or if they can counter Ada Senrigan, which seemed almighty at this point, like, woo. But I imagine they'd still have to get their hands on Kawaki before anything else. So yeah, but anyways, just have a little discussion to kind of stir the pot until the next chapter comes out. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what's on your mind. Do you appreciate Naruto being an active, non-active participant in this story again? And I think what can happen from that, it kind of gives rise to additional inter-character drama and tension in terms of how the fate of Naruto should be handled by Kawaki, Sarada, the village, once things kind of get rolling in terms of, because I imagine Shikamaru is going to do some investigation, and more of the truth is going to be revealed to the characters who had their memories altered, which is already that is already the case. Like, that's in the process. So I think Naruto being an active, non-active participant has a lot of potential for the story. All I'm saying is, yo, I'm not gonna lie, this story, like, ideally, if it fleshes out all that it needs to flesh out, it's not ending for now. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, comment, let me know what you thought about my little discussion here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Sanju Uchiha, and I'll see you in the next Boruto TBV video.